More moves are incoming for the Golden State Warriors as after an absolutely insane trade deadline where the team acquired Jimmy Butler, they actually opened up 2 extra roster spots. And there have been a ton of names that have been thrown around in recent rumors and reports regarding this Golden State Warriors team that could help improve the roster right away for this Warriors squad. So we're going to break down all of the names that are getting tossed around Warriors land, how they can have an impact on the Warriors team for this season, and what we can expect from Golden State in this year's buyout market. As we already covered the expectations of Malcolm Brogdon getting bought out and potentially coming to the Warriors, and now there are a ton more names that we have to discuss. But folks, you guys have been crushing it, hitting that subscribe button as of late, and we're continuing to grow this channel here at Warriors Digest. So if you're part of the 68% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, and you want to stay up to date with daily Golden State Warriors coverage, make sure you guys hit that sub button because frankly, things are going crazy right now all across Warriors land. But we have some names that we really have to dive into, sink our teeth into, because the Warriors, they're going to be active out here on the buyout market. As this came out during the trade deadline day, I broke this down in yesterday's video, but after acquiring Jimmy Butler, they generated 3 extra roster spots in the 4-for-1 deal. And Quinten Post, of course, ended up signing, converting his 2-way contract to a full tilt NBA contract, so he'll be available for the postseason. But that has left Golden State, Mike Dunleavy, with 2 extra roster spots to play with, to bring in guys, and to make some signings out here at this year's sort of buyout market period, which is going to be now to the beginning of March. So I'm sure these aren't going to happen imminent. These moves aren't coming right away, given the fact we got to figure out how this team looks with Jimmy Butler, with this new look construction, with Quinten Post out there in the starting unit, right? See how things are kind of playing out. But of course, we have our eyes in terms of players that are out there and available, and frankly, want to scoop up the best players before they end up getting signed by other teams. Now, the first guy that is a prime buyout candidate and has been on the Charlotte Hornets for the last little while is a guy that's familiar to a lot of Golden State Warriors fans, is Seth Curry. Obviously, brothers to Steph Curry, but currently the season is averaging 6.1 points per game and 1.5 rebounds. And you might be like, he's 34 years old. Ben, why on earth would Seth Curry be that type of acquisition that would get people hyped? Why would people be super, super pumped about, Seth Curry? Well, look at the bottom left there, out there in the stat graphic for Seth Curry. 47% from behind the three-point line. And he's shooting 54% out there on corner threes. Now, Seth Curry's playing for the Hornets. They are one of the league's worst NBA teams. So, of course, they're a team that's very likely to be granting these buyouts to their expiring contracts, especially a guy that's 34 and Seth Curry has an opportunity to join a team where he could perfectly fit in alongside his brother, his Hall of Fame point guard, Steph, reunite out there in the last prime opportunity, the next couple seasons, of course, where they can win an NBA championship as a duo. Now, I think Seth Curry is at the top of my list in terms of guys who I want to see Mike Dunleavy go after, with the exception of Malcolm Brogdon, who, of course, if healthy, is a legitimate bona fide guard out there in the NBA. But Seth Curry brings that three-point spacing, brings that three-point shooting, and around Jimmy Butler, right, who does attack the rim a ton, who does do most of his work crashing the lanes, getting fouled and doing things on the inside out, having extra floor spacing, especially if you stagger some lineups with Jimmy and Steph Curry out there, it's going to be very, very effective. I mean, Steph has talked about the floor balance, having Jimmy slash and him shooting, and then if you add a 45% three-point shooter and a guy shoots over 50% from the corners to those lineups, I mean, that is a huge boost, a huge addition, and especially where a guy like Podziemski, who, of course, is going to get a ton of run, get a ton of minutes, is young, is great. He's only shooting 33% from the three-point line this year, has been better as of late, but has been inconsistent. We know the inconsistencies that Buddy Hield can have. Seth Curry is a guy that I think is a prime target for Golden State. So let me know what you guys think about the Seth Curry acquisition. But there's another name that I've seen thrown around, which I think is definitely going to be polarizing. I think some people will agree, some people will disagree out there in the comment section because it is a significant risk, and that is Bojan Bogdanovic, who is playing for the Brooklyn Nets right now, was in a trade that, in the Mikal Bridges trade, but he has been dealing with an injury that has essentially kept him out of the line for a very, very long time. And we can take a look at his stats over the past couple of seasons and stuff. Just, 23-24 season. During that year with the Detroit Pistons, this man was averaging a 20-piece. He was averaging a 20-piece at the start of just last year. And we can take a look before he got traded to the New York Knicks, of course. And of course, this Pistons team was horrific. It was not good, but he was shooting 42% from the three-point line. And I'm just being an all-around scorer for this team. Now, Bogdanovic is a guy that is 35, going to be 36 years old very, very soon. And the thing about Bogdanovic is he is very much an injury risk. So he's been ruled out for Monday's game against the Hornets, and this is coming out like basically today, and remains out indefinitely. Bogdanovic has yet to suit up this season, and there's been no indication that he'll be back before the All-Star break. Bearing a return to practice, he can be considered as doubtful for future contests. So he is dealing with an injury right now. But you look at a player that, again, just the start of last season, even during the Knicks, he wasn't that horrible, averaged 10 points per game. You're looking at a dude that was able to get you a 20-piece on any given night just the season ago. Now, of course, defense is a factor. There is a limited ability out there on that end of the floor, but he could be a very significant buy low option, just given the fact that he is a guy that's a high-level scorer, nearly averaged 20 points per game last season, and looked like a steal at the trade deadline for the Knicks last year. Things didn't really work out, and then, of course, just in 29 games, ended up going down with injury, and we haven't seen him play since, but is very much a guy that I think would be intriguing to bring into the Golden State Warriors if you can assure that he comes back healthy within the next month or so. Again, the Warriors team, I know it's we might be looking ahead things too far. The Warriors are the 11th seed in the Western Conference right now, but very tied for 9th basically, and are a couple games back of making a proper push out there in the West. So I think with this new look Warriors team, we're very optimistic about making a postseason run, making a little push out there the back half of the season. So, if a guy you could bring in that can get you 20 on any night out there for your roster, even if he is injured right now, I think that would be very, very intriguing. And then another name that has been tossed around and discussed out there amongst the buyout market, amongst the buyout options, is Reggie Jackson, who the numbers, again, this season aren't that overwhelming. 4 points per game, 1 rebound, 1 assist, shooting 34% from the three-point line, and shooting 43% on corner threes. Is 34 years old, but was on that championship-winning Denver Nuggets team, and Reggie Jackson has bounced around the league in recent years, so much so he's become a household name pertaining to the NBA trade deadline, and then, of course, he's ended up getting bought out. So he is very much a piece that you look at it, and he was actually putting up some decent putting up some decent numbers out there for the Philadelphia 76ers in his last stretch of games. Had a 10-piece in his last game for the Philadelphia 76ers. So is a guy that, again, can come in and get you some actual point guard minutes for Steph Curry. And that's something that I know a lot of people are calling for, like a backup natural one, rather than running weird amalgamations of different lineups out there at that point guard position. So I think he is a guy that I wouldn't be shocked if he's the guy that's available, especially for that secondary roster spot, depending on what Mike Dunleavy is looking for. But the Warriors have a golden opportunity right now because they're facing off against a Bucks team that is going to be without Giannis for the next little bit. Anthony Davis is not going to be available for the Dallas Mavericks in the next stretch of games. The Rockets have lost a few. They've been they've been all right. They've been up and down over the course of this year. Obviously, a good team in the Western Conference. I think they are the 4th seed here right now, and but they've been 4-6 in their last 10. But the Sacramento Kings, who we know are just up and down. You play the Hornets, the Magic, the Sixers, Hornets again, the Nets, the Pistons. There are a lot of games that are very, very gettable in these next stretch of games, and this is where the Golden State Warriors could make a proper push. So I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of these roster spots are filled very soon, just so this roster is more complete. We could see how things are going very fast, and then later in the month you get sort of one of those moves that you have all the buyout guys available and you make your decisions basically at that point. But let me know what you guys think in terms of who you want to see be filled up with these multiple roster spots. You guys are best to make this far. There are tax implications as well, so we'll see if they actually want to go over the tax threshold. But I think the Warriors are going all out in these next couple seasons. Then we'll figure out how things go out there in the future. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section down below. You guys are best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.